Howdy LBT Squad, I'm your host Alex Pop, and let me tell you the story of The Land Before Time 6. What? The hat? My pathetic accent? Just thought I'd get in tune with the movie's western twist. Come on, if you were a country boy like me, you'd do this too. So we're in the middle of reviewing every Land Before Time movie leading up to the all-new The Land Before Time 14 Journey of the Brave on DVD February 2nd. And we are now at The Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Saurus Rock. So, saddle up squad, we got a trail to blaze. Sheesh, I'm really exaggerating this movie's westernness. So once again, these are in-depth reviews, so spoiler alert. The movie begins with Grandpa Longneck talking in an annoyingly overdramatic voice, telling Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike the legendary tale of the lone dinosaur, the protector of the Great Valley who would single-handedly defeat Sharpteeth with his lasso-like tail. Grandpa Longneck continues that sometime later, a huge rock formation emerged from the ground, resembling the shape of a sauropod dinosaur with a circle of sharp-toothed teeth around its neck. It was named Saurus Rock, a monolith that actually does exist in clear view outside of the Great Valley. Another legend was spread that the Great Valley would be cursed with bad luck if Saurus Rock had ever been damaged. There are these two infant triceratops named Dinah and Dana, whom Sarah is babysitting at this time, and one thing that's never elaborated on is that the two twins refer to Sarah as their aunt. So are they really Sarah's niece and nephew? Because that would mean that Sarah has an older brother or sister who got married, but as far as we know, it's just Sarah and her dad in the Great Valley, so her older sibling would be living somewhere else. I guess we're just supposed to assume that they call her Aunt Sarah because she's a close friend of the family. So the day after the story, Littlefoot is pretending to be the lone dinosaur when he accidentally slips off a cliff edge. Fortunately, he's caught by an old longneck named Doc who, surprise surprise, is voiced by Chris Christopherson from Lone Star. Littlefoot gets to know the newcomer and learns that he had been to the Great Valley before, is adept with his tail, and bears a scar across his eye very similar to the one that the lone dinosaur had in the story. After discovering all this, Littlefoot is excited to announce his theory to his friends that Doc must actually be the lone dinosaur. His theory leads to further assumptions told through the song Legend of the Lone Dinosaur, a very enjoyable tune with a country beat. You can't not start tapping your foot during the song. Try, you'll fail. And while I didn't mind the country vibe that this movie occasionally has, it's a brief moment shortly after the song that felt a bit out of place, where Littlefoot is in his nest talking to himself, saying, "You talking to me? You talking to me?" Yeah, because kids will get a Taxi Driver reference. Littlefoot wakes up the next morning to Sarah asking him anxiously, "Have you seen them? Are they here?" Sarah plays the pronoun game so that Littlefoot can ask who the heck she's talking about. Ding! So it turns out that Dinah and Dana have gone missing, and Sarah is frightened at the thought of what her dad's reaction will be to find out that she lost them. So the gang of five set out to find them before dark in hopes that Sarah's dad will never find out. The only place they can assume to look is Saurus Rock, after Littlefoot was talking about it so much. Along the way, Sarah learns that Ducky can understand Dinah and Dana's muddled, inaudible speech. She explains that it's because she is one of 13 twins. Okay, first, I'm seeing 8 here, so Joe Biden must have taught me how to count.
A 3-letter word. Jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs.
Second, there is a phenomenon called cryptophagia, the development of a language that only twins understand between each other. But is this implying that there's only one language that all twins know? I am confused. Okay, I've done enough CinemaSins references. So they reach Saurus Rock to find the twins on top of the monolith's head. As they try to get them down, they accidentally break off a tooth from the monolith's neck, which triggers the memory of the part in the legend where the Great Valley will be plagued with bad luck if any damage was done to Saurus Rock. As they make their way back home, an Allosaurus shows up and gives chase. They all get inside a fallen log to evade it, but the sharp tooth picks it up with its mouth and throws it toward a gorge, where it lands suspended between each side. The kids crawl out through a small opening, and as they make it to the other side, the Allosaurus tries to cross, but the log breaks under its weight, sending it plummeting into the ravine. But the kids arrive home too late, and Sarah's dad finds out that Sarah let the twins out of her sight, and you gotta love his response. Losing the twins? I've never heard of such a thing. Well, it's like my granddaddy always told me. It's when you have these twins, and you lose them, like licking butter off a knife. But it only starts there. As the kids predict in what is the least memorable song for me, a continuous series of misfortunes occur in the Great Valley, from getting stung by bees to a tornado swirling through. And apparently the adults are on the same level of below the belt as Sarah's dad, because they blame Doc for all the chaos, as it seems that it all started when he came to the Great Valley. Also not remembering how the Great Valley was even more destroyed in the last movie. Littlefoot, who sees Doc as his hero, is defending of him, knowing that it's he and his friends who are responsible because of when they knocked the tooth off of Saurus Rock. There's a good moment between him and Doc where he tells him that the best thing that you can do in times of trouble is just fix what you can and move on from what you can't. And it's implied through this scene that a past misfortune that Doc couldn't fix is what made him become a drifter. Littlefoot heeds Doc's advice, and he journeys back to mend Saurus Rock. As his friends aren't there to take the responsibility with him, Littlefoot tries to deal with his anger by singing about the advantages of being alone, but then goes on to sing about the disadvantages when he recognizes them. There are times when I'm driving or walking alone where I find myself singing this song, and I follow it up with what I guess could be the solution song, which you find in movie number 9. I'll be getting to that sometime before the day's end. So Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike tell Grandpa Longneck about Littlefoot's absence, and they all follow him to Saurus Rock. What I never got, though, is when Grandpa says that he doesn't know the way there. Saurus Rock is clearly visible from inside the Great Valley as established at the beginning of the movie, so isn't it just kind of face the rock formation and then straight on till morning? So Littlefoot walks down the side of the canyon that they crossed earlier and approaches the unconscious Sharptooth, having it in mind to remove a tooth from its mouth to replace the one that was broken off of Saurus Rock. What follows ought to be a deja vu moment for Littlefoot, as in the first movie, another Sharptooth woke up from a long hard fall after a few days. Lesson learned. Indeed, the Allosaurus wakes up, and as it corners him, Littlefoot is rescued by his grandfather. But then another Sharptooth just randomly shows up, and they start to overtake Grandpa. Fortunately, Doc enters the scene as well, and with combined efforts, they pull a rock pillar apart, causing it to fall on the two Sharptooth. They even manage to knock out a tooth in the process. While repairing Saurus Rock, Doc declares his departure anyway, and leaves Littlefoot with the knowledge that he still has a hero to depend on, that being his grandpa. On their way back home, Littlefoot thanks his grandpa for being his hero, while Grandpa assures him that there's really no such thing as bad luck, and that part was nothing more than a legend. The movie ends with Littlefoot making up a story of his own about his grandpa being a legendary hero, and Grandpa's voiceover asking, "Who knows where this legend will end?" It's a solid, satisfying end to the movie, but here's the problem. Believe it or not, The Secret of Saurus Rock was originally intended to be the last one in the franchise, and this is a half-decent end of the series at best. I don't mind it so much as I know that there were dozens more to come, but had I watched it back then with that knowledge, I would have been disappointed. If they ever do intend to conclude the franchise for real, they better think bigger and heavier than this. So overall, I think this movie's decent. There are script points that don't make sense, and there's nothing about it that's truly spectacular, with maybe the exception of the Lone Dinosaur song. But it does have agreeable messages about being responsible, and a great theme of there being heroes everywhere in your life if you look around, which both enthralled me more than the theme of bad luck being an illusion. The animation is good, and the action is fair, so it's a worthy installment that I'll still pop in every now and then. It doesn't resonate with me as strongly as something like Journey Through the Mist, but I'll still give The Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Saurus Rock, a B. Now let's go to 3 comment reviews from LBT Squad members. Ali Ball said, "The Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Saurus Rock is kind of a bore, but my only real problem with the movie is the premise. I don't know why, but it just didn't interest me. However, the songs are decent, the animation is good, and the action scenes are great. I'll give it a C+. LBT Superior said, "While not in my top 10, it's still pretty good. I watched this a little less than 5 as a little kid, and living in Oklahoma and it being a Western still makes this one feel like quality. B+. And Jalissa44 said, "The Secret of Saurus Rock is my favorite of all the movies. It has a really fun story. I like their first trip to Saurus Rock and the chase with the Allosaurus. The songs are again awesome, especially the first two. I think it's cool that they leave the idea open as to whether or not Doc is the lone dinosaur. The main reason this one is my favorite is because for a really long time I didn't have this one. I had 1 through 5 and 8 through 9 on VHS, but not 6 and 7. I don't really remember 7, so I didn't get to watch it as much. When I did get to it, it was more exciting. I remember watching it with my brother and my cousin and also renting it. I eventually got 6 and 7 on DVD as a double feature. Best one of all time, A+. Some mixed reviews on this one, with one commenter even giving it an F, but the 12 grades submitted still average out to a B. You thought it was good, and I thought it was decent enough too, but The Land Before Time 7, The Stone of Cold Fire, well, we'll be getting to that awesomeness soon enough. To share your opinion on this movie, leave a review as well as your letter grade in the comments below and have them featured in the video. That's a wrap for now. If you like this and you want to see more, slap the like button, subscribe for future videos, and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Alex Pop. Catch you later. Doc abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that. It's good knowing that he's out there. Doc. Taking her easy on all us sinners. Shush. Well, I sure hope that he finds Dara. Well, that about does her. Apps are all up. Things seem to have worked out pretty good for Doc and Littlefoot. It was a pretty good story, don't you think? Parts, anyway. Now, I didn't like seeing Doc go. But then I happen to know that there was a little Doc on the way. Guess that's the way that the whole darn series keeps perpetuating itself down through the generations, across the sands of time until we... Oh, look at me. I'm rambling again. Well, I hope you folks all enjoyed yourselves. I'll catch you later on down the trail.